But the main thing about this project, there's three things we're trying to do in this project is, one is sidewalks. We got sidewalks that have been here for, no telling how long. And we're going to replace the sidewalks. Lighting, we're going to do lighting this time, which is, I think, is important. And then the third is handicap accessibility. Let's be honest, our sidewalks do not have handicap accessibility, and this should be that. Somebody will immediately need to introduce a couple people here that's going to be doing our that's over the grant administration. Shelton Merrill from Southwest Development District, and snuck in the back door is Joe Barker, the director of Southwest Development District, who will be administrating our grant. At this time, I'm going to let Jeannie have it, let her go over the project with you, and then, like I say, then she'll turn it over to Edward after that.
Hello, everybody. As he said, I'm Jeannie Keel. I work under Randy. I'll be handling the construction management from this point forward. I didn't work on the design, but if you have any questions about that, I'll be glad to try to help you answer those tonight. But I'll be handling the construction management project of the project. So this is just kind of an overview. You see the courthouse. We're going to start we're going to be working from Front Street all the way down to Cason. So we're doing a few blocks of work, and this just kind of shows you an overall. What we do have is a zoomed in view of each of the blocks, each of the streets. So we're going to start down in front. This just kind of shows you, like the mayor said, we do not have a very good, if any, handicap accessibility here. It's a federal law that we have accessible sidewalks, and so you'll see that we've had to put in, I actually have a pointer so I can show you, I believe. We've had to put in a handicap ramp here and here to provide access to the sidewalks to those with disabilities. So we have handicap sidewalks and ramps on both sides of the street. If you'll continue on down, we're adding crosswalks to provide safer travel. We'll also have another ramp here. There's a lot of grade changes on the project, so we've had to put a lot of ramps in to allow access for those in wheelchairs. If you'll continue on down, more crosswalks. You know, we're striping all of the crosswalks here. And that's kind of the end. That's Washington Street. And if you would go to the next page, it'll show you a view in from Washington. Headed on. Continuing on, the same thing. If you'll notice, we have a decorative brick band. Okay, so that's just going to be kind of to decorate up aesthetic changes, enhancements to the project. Sidewalk, curb. We do get into, I believe this is Subway here, so in front of Subway and a couple areas right through here, we've had to add a couple of steps. There will still be accessibility down on the end of the blocks for those in a wheelchair, but because of the grade changes from the road to the door to those businesses, there are going to be a few steps. So we have a decorative band of brick pavers as well as some steps. You'll notice that we do have street lights. You can't see it in the brick band, but there are multiple street lights across from each other down the entire block. I have a picture of what the street lights are going to look like, so we'll go over that in just a minute. Got another sheet. Somewhere. Yeah, so here we are on Crook. This line here, the small dotted line, kind of shows what's going to be worked on the courthouse on the county project. So you've probably noticed that construction's already well underway over there. They're restructuring the wall and doing a lot of work over there. Everything that's going to be done on that side of the project through the county is also going to be done in this project so that everything's matching. It looks good. The lights are going to match, and everything's going to match in that project. We'll continue on down to the end of this block. Where we will end the project here at Cason Street. So that's kind of an overview. If you'll open that landscaping, I'll just go over real quick. The landscaping is all kind of on one sheet. It's not multiple sheets, but again, we have these ramps here. So we have trees, lots and lots of shrubbery, different things to enhance the aesthetics of the project. Also, we have, you can't tell what they are, but there's 5 spots where we're adding receptacle pedestals so that whenever we have festivals and things, the city will be able to power up whatever is set up out in the street. So we do have multiple landscaping items being put in as well. So last, if you would just want to kind of go over just the aesthetics of what the lights are going to look like. I think they're really nice lights. Again, these are going to match what's being put in by the courthouse, by the county project. We're also going to be putting banner arms in. If you go down just a little bit, one more page, we'll see. That's kind of what the thing will look like installed. So you can kind of see what it looks like. I didn't have a photo with the banner arms, but there will be a banner arm sticking out so that you can hang like, you know, Christmas banners and things like that throughout the year. So that's kind of just an overview of what's going to be happening. The contractor that won the bid is going to go over the order the construction is going to take place, where they're going to start, kind of what order we're going to go in, how we handle, you know, access to your buildings and things like that. So if you have no questions about the layout, we might save those for the end, and I'm going to go ahead and let the contractors talk about what we're going to do from here, okay?
Hi, my name is Edward Jones. I'm with E&T Contracting. Tiffany Jones is my wife. She is the other half owner in this company, or the full owner, really. David Kinley will be the project manager. He'll be the one that will be handling everything office-wise. And then Denny Clayton will be the superintendent, which will be on site, which you'll be seeing every day walking up and down the streets. You want to pass the sheets out? We have a sheet with some information on it to give you a little bit about our company, and then also give you contact information so that if you have any questions, that you have a contact number and that you can contact us directly. This project is to make this town ADA and then also to beautify it. We do know that you have a business, and we will do our best to not interrupt that. We work with a lot of different business owners with other areas of their type of work, and we will build ramps. We will do whatever it takes to keep you access to your business. We know some of you is open 7 days a week, and some of you are not. We will work with your hourly schedule. Also, we will be working some at night to pouring concrete and things like that to be able to not interrupt your business. Of course, there will be a ramp, and at some point that ramp will have to be moved. A wooden ramp, let me rephrase that, a wooden ramp will have to be moved, of course, to pour the concrete and different things. So at that point, we will have some downtime in between trying to get access into your building for each day that you're working. We're going to plan on starting at Casing. We're going to try to go right down on the south side down to the Wi-Fi part. That will be our first stretch that we will start on. And then we would probably jump over and do on the north side down to the red light as well. The reason we're doing that is at the red light there is a lot of electrical that starts in that area, and so for the electrician and to get everything under the concrete, we're going to go that phase first, and then we will go from the red light to the bridge at the last phase. This is a 10-month project. We're hoping to squeeze that in a little faster due to weather and things like that, and it started a little later. So we're going to try to push on it pretty hard. So we will be up and down the streets every day, moving things pretty quick. So before we start in front of your business, we will contact you. We will let you know that we're starting, and we'll kind of give you a timeline of how long we think that we'll be interrupting your business. Please work with us. If you have any questions, please call us. We're easy to get along with. We live here too. So if you have any questions, please feel free to call us. Our office is in Magic Valley. If you have anything that is interrupting your schedule, also let us know. You can talk with Denny. He'll be on site. Tiffany will be in and out as well, talking with you about the progress and anything else that's going on. You got anything, David?
You talked about kind of our idea about per month on different sections. Do you think?
We'll start right here. This first section here, just planning. We're looking at, say, 2 months here, possibly 2 months here, a month, and a month. Just kind of and it might not take that long, and we might have to break that up into different sections depending on, this is such a long stretch. And so kind of timeline, once we get into it, we'll know more about the timeline. Of course, all the concrete comes out, there's a whole lot of electrical and stuff that goes in underneath the concrete. So once the sidewalk comes up, they won't be pouring them right back. There is a lot of electrical, and different things that goes underneath that.
This is a job also that, the reason that it won't go back immediately is the inspections that are required and those kind of procedures that we have to follow through the TDOT and grant specifications, that you just have to bear with us as the proper route is taken to make sure it's installed correctly.
There is a lot of people involved in this project, so it ain't like something going on in your backyard. So once we pull it up, it won't be just putting it right back down. There will be a lot of things that go into this concrete before it goes back so that we get the product that the state requires. Danny, you got anything? No. All right.
I think we kind of just really roughly over it. I think we want to spend more time to figure people have questions on their individual business, where we have, like I said, we have everybody here concerning the project. So if anybody has any questions they want to ask, please, this will be the time to ask us. We can try to get back with you. I think one issue is, of course, going to be parking. And right now, let's be honest, right now, with the university doing its construction right now, we're getting a lot of those people pushed into our parking lots from contractors and everything else, which is really taking up the city parking lot. But you know, this is one of those deals. This is one we're just going to try to work around that. But that's going to be the big issue. Parking places we're going to lose by the time it's all said and done. How many we figure?
4.
The city is trying to acquire some more parking places and.
Actually 5. It's 2. It's 4 on one block and 1 on the other.
But the big thing is, the most costly of this is the block at the overhead bridge. Is by far the most costly of the blocks we're doing because of the grade, because of the handicaps, because of the handicap accessibility, trying to get that. And so we're trying, and also that seems like our street, if you notice that street, it seems like it bottlenecks right there at the bridges. It tends to bottleneck, that's where it's the narrowest at. So we're trying to come back. We'll be a little, matter of fact, it should be a few feet wider at that when we're losing that parking places on those ends. It should be a few feet wider because we're only going to come out, how many, 6 feet, 4
Right
feet?
now, the way that the parking spot's laid out, when there's a car parked there, you actually have to cross the center line a little to get around them. And since we're taking that parking out, we're putting a bump out with landscaping as well as that switchback handicap ramp, it won't project out into the street as far as a parked car would have. So it makes the street itself wider and safer.
Like I said, if anybody has any questions, be asked. I mean, we have the plans, all the plans up here. So this be, like I say, this be the kind of time to ask and everything. Like I say, this is a, yes, sir.
I have several questions. First of all, the block on the end that's costing the city so much money. I put a lot of my own personal money into that block, how many years ago? 5, 6, 7. In fact, I redid the entire block to code. Why are we having to change that block?
Because the first thing we were told by TDOT when they come down here the day we got the grant awarded to us was that block was not handicap accessible, and that this project, this is what we were having to do to meet their code. The problem with this, this is just the facts of life. Dealing with TDOT is not the easiest thing to deal with on their codes and everything else. And it's their, it's their money, and it costs a lot more to do it. We just did it by ourselves, but the grant, we got a pretty big grant. But TDOT is controlling these things and how it's going to be, and we have to hit. Matter of fact, these plans had to get sent to TDOT. They had to get approved, and we went through that battle for a little while to get it approved. But that is. But Doc, do you really think that's handicap accessible down there?
We bring them in there every day.
I realize that it is, but Doc, I'm handicapped, and I know how it is. That's not handicap accessible.
Well, since you don't come to my clinic, maybe you don't know. But
Doc, I do. I come to everywhere in town. I've been everywhere in town, Doc. But that is not handicap accessible on the codes of now. If you've got to go back and replace everything, and that's our problem. We got places that are 4-foot drop-offs that we're now having to address with landscaping and doing things like this. And it really has put that project up in cost.
Well, okay. Let's move on to my next question. What type of greenery and beautification's gonna happen on that block over there?
I'll have to look at we hired a landscape architect to lay out the entire landscaping of the project. But I can tell you what's going in. We have some maples going in, so maple trees.
Is this done on the block of the bridge?
So some going bananas evergreen daylilies.
Could you possibly point that out on the map up there?
Yes. So you've got these 8 right here are going bananas evergreen daylilies are going in this just to kind of beautify that corner where you're going to have the big concrete ramp. Also, we have holly bushes. Okay, we got holly bushes going in right here. Let's see what's, a trash receptacle going in right here. So you've got daylilies, holly bushes, and a trash receptacle that are going in just on this block here.
Okay, what
Is
about
it
the next
banking
block?
across the street?
Yes, sir, we have holly bushes and for daylilies and holly bushes also going in across the street. Looks like also there's a light, there's a light here. So you got 4 lights on this block as well. In addition to, you can see that, that decorative band of papers there, and then the 2 lights and a couple of shrubs.
I think one of the big issues TDOT came to us, that we had no really handicap access coming from the east, if I remember, Jim, was that coming from the west, or from the west, coming from the west? We had no handicap, our sidewalks were not handicap accessible.
Well, even if the sidewalk itself is within compliance for ADA, the 2% cross slopes, they don't slide sideways, or not exceeding 5% running slope walking down the sidewalk, you can't get on the sidewalk if you're in a wheelchair because there's no curb ramps that are accessible. So the sidewalk may, I don't know, I haven't checked it, but it may itself be okay, but there's no access to it. And so we have to provide this huge switchback ramp to take out that drop in grade right there to get people up on it.
How many parking places is that taking out?
I believe that there was an extra one right here, or 2 more right here. Actually, I can tell you that real quick.
So I have a question.
Okay.
We have a very busy clinic right here, and it appears to me, according to this plan, that the brunt of the parking spaces that will be lost by the business that will be affected would be the business that experiences one of the highest volumes in terms of parking needs.
Well, our intention is one is to look for other parking areas to
And what
park.
plan is that?
And to be honest, we have Front Street. And that parking area, we're planning on enlarging Front Street, parking on Front Street, the parking lot. If you look at the parking lot, we have an opportunity how much, we can put another row of cars on the side closest to the railroad track going down Front Street. We intend on trying to do that. We're trying to get more parking places than we're losing, and we're trying to bring back. But, we have, I'll be honest, the biggest problem we have, just be honest, the biggest problem we have with parking is not so much customer parking, is employees parking and parking places that are for customers. Everybody wants to park close to their business, and we're all kind of guilty of that. And, I get on, we call every, on a regular basis, I think about once every 6 months, we send a letter to Clayton Bank and asking Clayton Bank, can y'all not park down in your area around the things and free up the city parking lot for us, not for us, but for customer parking there. So we go through that battle, and we've always gone through that battle, but we're going to try there to get to.
As a business owner here in this town, what is your suggestion for my patients that need to park?
Well, like I said, Front Street is going to be one place we do. Front Street will be one place we're going to add parking to down the road.
When?
probably in the next, not the next fiscal year, but you still got parking there. There's a lot of parking places that are open in town, but there's not right now beside the
For
business.
elderly patients that have to walk.
I understand that, but, you know, we're trying to get them we're doing the handicap system, this is what it is. You got a site, you got a town that was built, and the roads were built when you had horse carriages, and they're narrow, and you're trying to do the best you can. But we gotta make them handicap accessible, and this is what we're trying to do. And that's a tough area down there to do that in.
We are losing two. I looked back, I think you may have asked how many spots we're losing. Someone asked how many spots we're losing. There are two that we lost right here due to the handicap ramp, and there are still two that are gonna be available.
And two on the other side.
Yes, I was
That's
just addressing your business.
4 parking spots that our patients would be using.
Well, can you give me a suggestion what
Give me
should,
another
what,
example.
can I have a suggestion what y'all guys want us to do? Just leave it alone, not do nothing?
Well, yes, okay. We went through the same thought process that apparently everybody else has been going through without our input several years ago. Okay? We made a handicapped access there on Union Alley. It's wheelchair accessible. The reason we put the steps on the other end of the clinic is because we had water from the street washing down into the window of the clinic. Okay? And, you know, we spent several $1,000s of our own money making a solution for this downtown city block that we spent a lot of money investing in downtown Henderson. Okay? Unless the city is planning on developing this entire downtown with taxpayer dollars, you've got another piece of the equation here, and that's your real estate developers. I found out tonight that these crepe myrtles, these trees, this brick sidewalk that I spent thousands of dollars of my own money putting in down here to code, is going to be replaced by this. To me, that's throwing your developers under the bus. This was not handled right.
Doc, we've been going over this for 4 years.
The last time
I'm Doc, can I speak now?
Yes, sir.
Because we've been going over this for 4 years, Doc. We've talked about it, we've had meetings, and Doc, this is the first time you've ever come talk to us.
The last
And we
time
put it out there, we've talked about it, we banged around this thing for 4 years trying to get this, and trying to get TDOT to approve it, not approve it, and we've been, and this is where we've came to be, Doc, and this is where it's at. And unless the city council changes and decides not to, we voted on this thing on 3 different occasions, I know it.
The last I heard from Brent Beshears, which was less than 8 months ago, was that this project stopped at Union Alley. I have not heard anything to the contrary since then.
So, that's true, Doc, we've been talking about it and fighting this for years on this project. We've been meeting, we put stuff in the paper, we've talked about it. We've had, Randy came here, Randy McKinnon came here. We put all this up on the screen and we went through this whole thing. Last year before last year or so, we did the whole thing and went over this again and talked to people about it. And like I say, the project it's not just one block. It's from Cason all the way down. It's not just one block. It's the whole thing. And to just be honest too, the only place the city got easements, that had to get easements, was the bank gave us an easement, Richard Emerson gave us an easement, and Larry McKenzie gave it. The rest of that stuff is all city property. We did surveys and everything else, and it's all city property. And that's, that's the...
Well, I mean, I've never been a politician, and obviously never will, but if I was in a situation of designing a project like this, it's a pretty small handful of people who've developed downtown in the last 15 years. Two of those 7 blocks right there are mine. Let's flip the shoes here. Is this the way you would want to be treated if you'd invested a whole lot of money in downtown Henderson?
Like, Doc, this has been a 4-year project we talked about. And I mean, it's not about, and I know you don't hear, it's not all about you, Doc. There's a lot of other people that are invested in this too, and a lot of other people that they're needing the sidewalk. You know, to be honest with you, the city council didn't push this. The Chamber of Commerce said this is a need for this need. They was the ones that came, talked to us, and got it going. And so this is kind of how we got here, but everybody's known about this.
That's right. And the last I heard was it stopped at Union Avenue.
Well, also what I would like to know is that as a very busy business, I see no contingency plan to plan for how that's going to impact our business. If, you know, I see no.
We're losing 2 spots.
no
I've
reason for-
already talked to people about trying to acquire spots,
we're
area
losing 4.
property downtown that we can put parking, more parking on. But you know, we're talking about 2 or 3 spots that now all of a sudden is a big issue. When like saying we're trying to acquire more spots, we're trying to replace more spots than we're taking. And that's good. I was at the plan of doing that on Front
And how
Street.
many of those spots are going to be accessible in relative close distance to our business?
Get one across the street that way. That's what we're working on now. We're negotiating on that one now. That's what we're trying. You know, we realized we were going to lose spots. And we were trying to, the city council and all this talk, we tried to figure a way to get spots.
We also, as a city council, tried our best to prevent having to put the ramps out into any parking spots, but we couldn't avoid it. The ADA requirements kept us, tied our hands to do that. The decision, we made a commitment to go the extra block several months ago, simply because we wanted the entire downtown.
So you made the decision a couple months ago.
No,
Right.
the money, the decision of the money. The project has been designed from the get-go there. The money was the issue we talked about. Do we want to pay the money to finish the block up? And the decision of the board was to finish the block up. Because the cost of going back for another, 4-year waiting on this project, we saw going to another block, waiting another 4 years. Now you've had half your town done, or the half of it done, the other half looking like that. We chose to pay, to belly up and pay and do the other
So
blocks.
it sounds like that additional decision was made a few months ago, is what you're saying.
No,
Commit the money.
commit the money.
Commit the money. Drawing
The
all.
the drawings have been done, what, over a year?
Yeah. Well, they've been, you know, they had to be approved by TDOT, so like I said, they've been, for over a year, but when we designed this several years ago, but obviously the cost of everything has gone up, so the cost of construction items has gone up. And, you know, we looked at it block by block, and they decided to go ahead and keep that piece in, because it's discrimination not to. I mean, we're discriminating against people that are handicapped by not adding that ramp in. It's a necessary component to the downtown. And so they decided to go ahead and pay for it, but it has always been a part of the design. We just didn't know we had money for it now that we've waited 4 years to get it going.
And the issue is, like I said, with Jim can tell you, who was the guy from TDOT over the project? The first day we got the checks awarded to us.
It was Mel Hanson with TDOT. And he stood right here in this room and told me, he said, that block down there with those bricks and trees, he said, that's one of the first blocks that need to be fixed.
Well, I guess my point is, I can understand all that. What I can't understand is there being no involvement of 2 of the biggest real estate developers in downtown Henderson.
Doc, all I can do is put it in the paper. All I can do is tell people we're doing it.
Aren't you the mayor?
Yes,
Isn't it
ma'am.
your job to work with the community?
Ma'am, it's my job to do that, and I have. Because y'all two don't, and I hate to get mad and get frustrated, but Doc, you frustrate me every time you start talking. But I'm telling you because you talk down to me. But Doc, this right here, we talked about this for 4 years. And we've talked about, we've put it in the paper. We've had meetings here. We've had, I know 2 2 of these presentations discussing what we're gonna do. And it's a 4-year project. It's not like something we just started last month. We've been talking about it, and everybody, a lot of people in this room knew we was gonna do this. And a lot of people have been here, a lot of people in this room have been to every meeting we've had talking about this. And so this is where we're at today. Yes, sir.
clarification what Edward said about putting those ramps up to the businesses. When you put ramps to the business, how access, is that going to be a ramp to each business, or that's going to be across all the sidewalks, Edward?
Yes, that will be a ramp. Subway, for instance, there'll be a ramp built straight into your door, so that you'll have access.
Once you start moving the concrete up, you can put the ramps up right there. I want to know how accessible that was.
Yeah, we're gonna bring a ramp out all the way to the asphalt, so they'll get out of their car, get on the asphalt, walk straight in your building, wheelchairs, whatever needs to be. We'll work with you, whatever you need to get people in your door. So,
And we had one other question, just about the steps there for Larry McKenzie's and for our building. Is that gonna be a plan, or what are we gonna do to correct those steps that we obviously need to for?
You will, because of the way it's inset, can you go to their building? Yeah, right there. Are you talking about these steps?
Yes.
Or are you talking about the steps that we're putting in down here?
The first
The
one.
new steps, the
The
steps
first
up by your door?
Yes, ma'am.
The step into your door will still be there.
Okay.
Okay, we will not be able to create any sort of ramp into your door other than the accessible ramp while we're working on the sidewalk, but the final product will still leave you with the existing step. We can't float the sidewalk up to meet it just because y'all already got that inset door. It's just the way that building's designed. I mean, we looked at it, there was just no way to ramp up into it without creating an obstruction on the sidewalk, and you just can't do that.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I have a question. You mentioned a moment ago these streets were built before some of the buildings, unfortunately. And of course, I've spent, as lots of other folks here, lots of money fixing 117 and Smyrna. My concern, I'm assuming we're carrying all this concrete out, or?
I think I'll let Edwards play that. I believe that's gonna be a saw cut, and then it comes out, correct?
the removal,
Yes,
yes.
And I think you probably know where my concern is going.
I think it happened in Bolivar.
It happened in Bolivar. You have a lot of these older buildings, no matter how much you do to them, there's a concern if you start jackhammering the stuff up, we're gonna have fronts on the street. And, and I'm concerned not just for me, but there's a whole stretch of buildings on either side where everybody has the same potential problem. So if they're saw cut, that's gonna alleviate. We're not gonna have any potential ever of anything coming, any kind of washing out from under these buildings. I know you're not gonna leave it sitting there, so. Okay.
No, we'll be doing a lot of sawing, so that we're not actually jackhammering, demo and stuff like that, so it's not shaking any of the building.
I appreciate that.
We have done, I do construction inspection. We'll have a full-time inspector on this project as well that just kind of make sure that the TDOT requirements are being met and the contractor's doing everything that they have to do to meet the federal requirements and state requirements. But I did that as an inspector for several years before I started doing the management of it. And so I've done maybe 13 of these downtown projects where you're working on the building phase, and we haven't really had any problems. They just, when they saw cut it, reach in a bucket and pull it out. So we haven't really had any problems where we've messed up the front of buildings on our projects just because we've done so many at this point.
After seeing that in Bolivar.
Yeah.
Bolivar
That really hinders.
well, that's kind of why they got bonds.
Well, that's the reason I want.
That was a big issue. We talked, and asked questions. I think we asked, well, how do you flow after you saw that? How do you flow that? How it looks, so it looks like the whole entire sidewalk came out. But how close do you cut that in, Edward?
It's hard to tell depending on the brick. I'm saying we know we can get within 2 inches, but depending on what's there obstructing it, we can get closer. Just we'll have to see if it for each building.
Just everybody's going to have that potential issue. And I've done.
Across the street might be more dangerous than yours is. I'm more worried about across the street from here.
I understand, absolutely.
And that's one more thing.
Thank you.
Another issue I think we've talked, and I think the issue of it is how tall are the lights going to be? I mean, is it 16 foot?
16, I believe.
The issue was with I think the concern some of the aldermen brought up was the putting the banners on and trucks hitting the banners, and I think that's just how trucks pull in the side, and that's an issue they were concerned about too, but I think they're supposed to be 12 feet. The bottom one is supposed to be 12 feet?
The bottom of the banner on, yes. And I think we don't have the banner on that drawing, I don't think.
Also, in offense to the good people at Clayton Bank, can't talk my good neighbors and maybe using their back parking lot. Those of us who have back entrances, we Not your
I will send a letter,
No offense.
I think Charles already got me, I'm gonna send, we'll get back to the free department again with construction people, we'll do that, and I will send a letter to, is it Derek?
I mean, a lot of town.
Yeah, but the free, I think the bank, they can use their, they can park at the drive-through, there's a parking area they can park around there. We can tend to open that up, because I think right now, I think the county's having problems on their parking lot, and I think Dwayne's starting to tow vehicles now.
Well, I think we could probably get 4 to 5 in our north branch, but I mean, that's it, but we've got like 30.
Well, the thing we want to do in parking is, I've already contacted one guy that has parking, I'm just asking if he'll consider selling it to us, and try to put parking just directly across from Dr. Fritz's office. I've talked to him on more than one occasion to see if I can have an opportunity to purchase that, to put about 6 or 7 parking places right there across the street. I've talked to him about doing that. The thing dealing with Front Street, it is how it is, but what we want to do is square that up, and that gives a whole row of parking on the side, the railroad side, all the way down. And that's what we want to try to do with that, come down, repay that, and come down and strike that. Will give us another row, to give us, how many parking places, if we do that row, you think we can get?
There's some that people already use, but it probably gives us another 10 or 12 down there.
And that's our intention, to do that, to give the parking places and try to do those, and try to get those. And, and if you really think about it, city, when they built City Hall, we picked up several parking places for everybody. When we built City Hall, those parking places were for customer parking. And there's several of those that were there, but, everybody parks in them. And so we try to do that, but that's kind of our intention right now. I'd love to be able to, if he would be willing to be surprised, sell that across the street, that we can put 7, or I think we can figure one handicap and probably 6 or 7 we can put there across the street. What we do is go and pave that and strike that, is what our intentions are, trying to do that. Yes, sir.
Is there any plan to improve storm drainage? Because I know when we have torrential downpours, we've got water coming in our front door at the drugstore.
I'll let the engineers, I'll let them talk about that, because that's the issue.
We are putting in a little bit,
15-inch plastic pipe.
we are putting in a little bit, I do not know exactly
Some new inlets and repairing some older inlets.
where. Can you pull them up somewhere?
Daryl, your building is where? I'm close here.
You're almost.
Go to the left.
Go to the left, that means we know another drawing down. Here. Close here. Here's Crook right over here, so your building is somewhere here. Maybe these two.
Probably.
You got me all messed up.
Okay.
I'm on Brook.
Yeah. On the south side, it's right close to the island right here. I believe the new curb is 6 inches tall. I don't know exactly how tall the existing curb is. Also, in this island here, this what we call the bump out island, there is a water drainage that goes underneath behind this island all the way down and carries that water on down this way. But I don't think there's any new underground drainage on that side of the street.
Is there an existing 6-inch, is there a curb in front of your building right now?
There is, yes.
What we are going back with is 6 inches. But I do think because of this installation, this is going to be a trough of 2 foot wide concrete, so that the water continues following down the face of the curb. So the only water you should get would be from the crown of the road that comes towards the curb, and I don't know that that would be enough to overrun a 6-inch curb. And we have all of the sidewalks designed so that they slope at 2% away from the face of the building. So there should be no water going back towards the building unless, we get a 100-year flood.
So now these were torrential downpours.
They are designed to run the water to the road now, so you shouldn't have an issue.
Does some of the water you deal with come down Crook straight at you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Crook itself does have what we call bump outs here. There's a new catch basin over on the courthouse side. There's also gonna be a catch basin right here, and also a new catch basin here. That are gonna be new catch basins,
That'll
and
probably
because
catch
these
most of
bump
it.
outs should catch the water,
Bump out should slow
it should
down.
be less likely to come across Main to your front door. So maybe that will help some of your issues.
When we start this project, what are we gonna do about dirt running down the street? Because that was, now that the courthouse is started and they
We've
haven't
got about
got
2
much
inches
of
in
it
front of the
done.
subway. I've said, we brought it to their attention for the
I
SWIP
just
permit.
noticed that tonight, and I'll have them, I'll be here in the morning, and I'll have them sweep that up. I'll have a sweeper here tomorrow. That's completely unacceptable, and I guess it was just because of the excessive amount of rain we've had. But I will definitely.
But are they gonna put some kind of retention?
There'll be silt fences, and we're
Yeah,
assuming
okay,
where
that's
you
what
need
I-
them to
what
keep
they're
mud
called.
out of the street.
Okay. Now, back to the back parking lot behind the drugstore. When we take these parking spots out, now, the parking spots on the street will be gone during the construction phase.
No, not all of them. I mean, occasionally we'll have to block something off for like a concrete truck to pull in and for us to set forms and
Okay.
stuff like that, but it's not our intention, it's correct, to close the parking.
It's only the work area that will be
Yeah.
working in at that moment.
Okay, so,
I think we cut a foot past the sidewalk that's existing now. Everything else, the rest of the asphalt will stay. So there'll only be, we'll build a ramp from a foot past your sidewalk into your building.
okay. But, I mean, like, how long a section are you gonna take out at a time, I guess is what I'm saying. So there's still gonna be parking places to this side of the construction and to this side of
Yes.
the construction. Because there's only 45 spots in that back lot. 22 are taken up by construction people. Then, I mean, we alone have 10. If you take out the city parking out front, there's no place for anybody to park. They're gonna line up and down the alley back there.
Well, like I say, I'll get with them, and unless we change the ordinance, only the ordinance, like we talked about, the ordinance reads, is no overnight parking. And our police department writes tickets, they'll go in there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and write tickets. If they're, because usually, and I hate to say it, usually that's the students, instead of the contractor. But I think we've had problems with contractors bringing in trucks and trailers and parking in our parking lot. They just have to, but, that's something we'll talk to Dwayne Wilson about and see if we can get us out there and see if we can get them out of that parking lot.
Graduation at Freed should help also for summer. There won't be quite as many students there. Keith, you have any idea when graduation is?
May 16th.
May 16th. So that's going to help before he even gets started. Freed Hardeman should be out for the summer, so there should be less students on campus during the summer.
We should be able to get them to park there on those parking lots and stay out of ours.
So that may help.
I'm talking about, not just summer,
Yeah.
Oh, we come rolling around in the fall, we come August, that's going to, I realize that'd be another issue, and we'll have to deal with that come August. We deal with it about every 2 or 3 months, we have to deal with it.
Until construction started, it had been cleared up, taken care of.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, but it's that thing, is everybody wants to park close to where they can go, and the construction workers need to find somewhere.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I think one thing Edward's trying to do, we're trying our best to get past and on down past Crook with everything, because hopefully the county's project will be done by, their project will be done by, before the barbecue festival. We're hoping to be on down out of the way, heading west before the barbecue festival stops. So that way, sidewalks and everything, by the time the barbecue festival rolls around, we'll have all the sidewalks in that area where barbecue festival is done. That's our goal. Yes, ma'am.
Well, we have some equipment that is very sensitive to power outages and very costly when that happens. What kind of assurance that will we have that there's communication that when those sorts of things are going to happen? Because if there's temporary power outages, it can really cause us financial strain by having to repair some equipment.
I think we've got to do 2 major road bores. That's going to be right at the red light. Other than that, the only electrical that we will be messing with, I guess you'd say, will be underneath the sidewalk. It shouldn't be anything to do with the power that you're coming into your main meter base. Everything, this is gonna be from the city pole.
I guess we can get with Lynn Helton to make sure where we're coming from is not gonna affect their business on the boards. We'll get with Lynn and ask him, well, his people from Southwest, how to.
Of course, we'll have to do all the 811 calls, and then there'll be every utility inspector of every type there. Be a lot of people there involved in that process there.
Most of Main Street, the electrical is either overhead or it comes into the rear of the buildings. Y'all probably come into the rear of your building or to the end. So there should be very limited electrical in Main Street to be a problem. And what is mainly overhead. And because this work will be done underground, there should be very little interruption as far as electricity if any. Both of these services, both the courthouse and the city project, is a separate type metered service, almost like your business. So nothing will be connected to it except by Southwest at the end of the project when we get ready to turn the electricity on. So I don't foresee electrical power outages being an issue at the current time.
Now, one problem we are gonna have is just, it's inevitable. Southwest, when Southwest comes and takes those poles, we're gonna try to do that in phases, but it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be dark. So, but when they take our lights out to do that, it's gonna be dark down there, so.
Well, we would really ask a favor if someone would let us know when that's gonna happen, because when that MRI shuts down, the clock ticks. You've literally got a few hours before that thing basically starts blowing off steam into that costs a whole lot of money to fix.
Right, we understand.
Okay.
Our plan with that is, I'm gonna work ahead of construction. And I will be giving several days, if not a week and a half notice before we are touching the area in front of your property. And I will be coming to visit you and kind of give you a timeline of what the plan is, the duration that it might take, that section in front of your business would be interrupted. So that is our plan. We don't plan to just show up one morning and you not know that we're going to be there. That's not fair to you. So we hope to prevent and everybody know and be in the loop as to what phase will take place when. And that's why I gave you that letter and my business card. So if you think and haven't heard from me, and you think we might be getting, too close, give me a call. But I assure you that we will notify you and let you know as the process. And you'll see it as it develops as we come down the street. But you will get a visit or a phone call from us, and we will fill you in as close to the day as possible of when that construction will take place in front of your business.
And when the mayor said it'll be dark, he doesn't mean that you'll have power outages in your building. He actually just means that the street lights will be out for a little bit. We're not going to cut power to any building, so your MRI machine should be fine. It'll be when we swap the street lights over.
Thanks for that.
Our plan is as soon as we can get they'll pull the street lights, but as soon as we can get them back up, they will go ahead and start turning them back on, so there will be some light downtown. But there will be periods that this section might be dark for a few weeks until we can get the poles back in and the lights turned back on.
Jason?
Two questions, and I may have missed this for whatever, but the light poles, are they gonna have power outlets in them for festivals and things like that?
No, they are.
Yes, supposed to have one at top and bottom.
Yeah.
There's a power outlet at the top, it's my understanding, at the top that's going to actually be on a timer and a photo cell for Christmas decorations, etc.
Perfect, okay.
There will be a plug-in at the bottom that is also controlled by a breaker in the main boxes that is power all the time.
Okay.
So,
In addition to
And that's-
we'll have additional power outlets too, and a lot of those little bump out islands, so there'll be a lot of access at each light as well as additional locations to place it.
Now, I think the downtown box, there's two boxes, there's gonna be two power boxes, correct? Five, I mean, there's only one in at the county for the festival. Then we'll pull that service pole we put in a few years ago at the downtown park and there'll be another box in there that.
You meant like a box of feed and everything.
Yes, but what is it, what phase is that, or what is that?
it is a single
Phase.
phase, 440, it's a pretty hefty box. And then there's break off from that, and you have fire centers coming out of it at different locations. Either on the courthouse lawn, and there's another extra one or two at the downtown park, et cetera, throughout the project. So, yeah, there'll be considerable amount of electricity
I think
capability.
the deal with the county project was one that they, besides the sidewalk and the lighting, they focused on the festival of the power sources for the festival. And I think that was a need of ours. And we,
There's several boxes on the courthouse lawn.
courthouse lawn for the festival, and we put the same thing down in the downtown park for, same thing we do down there.
Okay, perfect. The second question, and this may or may not be part of this, I don't know, I hope I'm not opening a can of worms, but awnings. Is there a discussion on how far out the awnings need to go, or new awnings, or anything like that?
That's an issue that we banged around with the board, would have to change the zoning on, which everybody would have to be grandfathered in. We're not going, we wouldn't change the ordinance policy when people got a flat, you know. But they'd have to be probably, I think the board, their intention would be grandfathered in if we did the awnings. But it'd have to be, you know, be so many inches or so far out, because you put a 16-foot light there, and some of the awnings down are going to shine on top of the awning. You're going to light up the awning. So that has been discussed in the future of putting the zoning on how far the awnings can come out. So you get the lighting.
Okay, so nothing's been addressed yet,
No.
but that will probably happen in the future.
There's been a general discussion, but there's been no details, and there's just a consideration. The city's had discussions along with the chamber that we do probably need a new regulation pertaining to awnings downtown. But that's as far as anything has gone thus far.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I asked this of Randy a year and a half or 2 years ago. There will be no street work. We're not tearing up downtown streets and closing.
You're getting about a foot, we're getting about a foot off the sidewalk.
Yeah.
If you, is that
So
about
you
right?
get the curb in place.
So we get the curb in place.
It's curved up. You see kind of how they're doing here. I think they're really picking things up. But it's where they come back and pour, so that come back in.
We're not
Streets are not-
combining
streets
any
are
other
not-
projects, digging up water mains and closing down.
That's an
main
issue.
street.
That was, we feel the water main runs, that's the issue we talked about. We shouldn't affect the water main. The only place I think the only place we were a little concerned about would be at Casey Street, right there at Casey Street.
Yeah, and some of these bump outs are going to be going over that big 16-inch water main, so we'll have to be careful when we do that construction. Make sure we determine depths, make sure we don't have anything delayed when we're setting the trees, and also the lamp posts. We'll have to make sure we're.
The lamp post is only concerned because of the depth of the
Foundation.
the period for to hold that light. But all that will be marked heavily.
The traffic's still gonna flow up and down Main Street every day.
Yes.
That's all I'm, okay.
Okay, we're gonna be inconvenienced some. It's 10 months. It just, I remember my Bolivar had theirs, and I talked to the mayors. They've had theirs in Linden, and you got a few months, it's inconvenient. But you're trying to get the finished product, you get the finished product. And, you know, it is what it is. Those sidewalks have been that way for, I can't remember, did they ever replace them? I think they replaced them in the 80s or something.
Yeah, in the 80s, I think there was a lot of sidewalks that were just tore out and re-poured, right, just the same way they were. And sort of tried to sort of fix grounding on the corners, which is more of a danger than it was a help, I think, at the time. That was done, I would say, 82, 83, that was a little before my time.
I think we have a question right here. Will Bowling Street remain open coming out in 110 East Lane? No, 190 Dog.
No, the street, yeah, the one we are gonna close is the one that's out of the Sweet area.
Okay.
That's gonna be a sidewalk there, that's gonna go. I think the first discussion is to put bollards, removable bollards at the end of that. And that's kind of what we're looking at, to keep that from
This is the street right here, and this is, right now, open street called Bolton Alley, I think, or Bolton Street maybe. The plan is to go ahead and curb across it where it does close it down on Main Street. It'll remain open down the alley beside y'all's building, and we're gonna put removable pipe bollards at the lower end where people normally can't pull up in there, but they did have deliveries or whatever they could. It's gonna be like a loading and unloading zone.
Thank you, because I tell you, yesterday, I think one's making 100 coming up through there, they flagged them, it's
Well, I think, you know, we had a big, we had, I think I talked to your husband about that, didn't I? And we're talking about coming back and trying to extend that sidewalk out a little bit further towards that step because of downtown park and everything, you have to put more concrete. And a bigger level, a little more level area there for the park. How far, another question that Jim and I, how far is those steps gonna go in front of the step off the sidewalk, that step that's going, how far is that
For a
gonna
subway, that one section.
run? Yeah, how far is that gonna run?
I don't remember off the top of my head, I measured yesterday. Where are we? It's gonna be about 60 feet, 55 feet. You wanna go back to, are you there? Yes. Yep, you can see where it is from there to there. See, all of this here, your band of brick pavers is flush with the sidewalk, okay? And then you step off of the band of pavers to your curb. But here, we had to put multiple steps in, that's why that section doesn't have pavers. But according to these plans, it's about 55 feet to right here, something, I don't know, I think it's maybe about 60 or 65 feet. There's just really no way around that based on how high that drop is and the size step you can have.
That should be from about the start of Subway all the way to the end of First State Bank. Just kind of give everybody an idea.
There's this plain bank here. The next building, I forget what's in the next building. Beauty shop here, and then my Carl Perkins is here. And John, which building's yours? This one?
That's it.
And then the Chinese place here, and then Subway here, as we're going down the street. And then, of course, Larry McKenzie's building on the corner here. Beauty shop, I think it is. Yeah, that part of the project surprised even us, that we had to put that step in there.
I do have a sheet up here if you want to sign in so that we can have your contact information, and my contact information is on there as well if you want to get that, and if you'd like to sign in, just so that we have a log of who all was here today, and you know if we need to send out any information. And so that Tiffany has some contact information for you as well. Although she plans on meeting you all in person, this would be a good way for us to all be able to contact you if we need to.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much.